What up, Cooks? It's your boy, the Hater, and it's time for another episode of Hater on the Road, motherfuckers. Hater on the Road. This episode actually started out as Hater Outdoors, but then it started raining. So hold on while the Hater puts on his seatbelt. So you see, the Hater is always authentic. By the way, speaking of authentic, some of you apparently took the Hater's friend up on his offer to get your Amazon cards. So if you guys want to do that, go find the post and keep doing it, because my friend said that even though he's gotten all the money that he can get from the referrals, you guys can still get the $200. But if you don't want to, I don't give a rat's ass anymore, because he got the money that he needs. So nor did I ever care at all. But anyways, let's get to this episode of Wrestler Review. Now, unlike other episodes, we're not going to be here talking about a relevant wrestler. We're switching it up. Now we're talking about a wrestler that nobody actually cares about, and that is none other than Erick Rowan, also known as Ramblin Rabbit. So, he's been around for a long time somehow, so let's start off with a good old career retrospective. So first of all, Erick Rowan, also known now as Ramblin Rabbit, he debuts on NXT as one of Bray Wyatt's disciples or whatever, right? Bray Wyatt started out with a guy named Eli Cottonwood. That guy never panned out. He was like 7 foot tall as well. But that guy never panned out. So what happened instead was we got Erick Rowan and Luke Harper. Very clearly, everybody knew from the beginning that Erick Rowan was the B-side and Luke Harper was the A-side, okay? So with all that being said, what did Erick Rowan bring to the table? Well, him and Luke Harper won the tag team titles, and during that time, it was too early to know how much of a jobber Erick Rowan would go to be. So I have to give this NXT run a solid 5 out of 10. You know what I mean? They won the tag titles. Like, what more could they do? I mean, they could be more interesting and they could be more integrated into the group, but they were supposed to be henchmen, and that's exactly how that went down. Next up, main roster debut. The Wyatt family debuts, and the group is all about Bray Wyatt, right? It's named after him. He's clearly the guy that they want to push from this group, so there you have it, right? Erick Rowan, once again, is third place in the group. No problem with that. Somebody's got to be third place up in this piece. But whatever, right? He's third place, and he must be treated as a third place jobber that he is. Now, the third place jobber, Erick Rowan, achieved absolutely nothing in the main roster with the first iteration of the Wyatt family. As a matter of fact, the Wyatt family didn't even win the tag titles, I don't think, until later. They didn't do anything impressive. And while Bray Wyatt had some good matches, including the match against Daniel Bryan at Royal Rumble, one of my favorite matches of that time for sure. One of my favorite matches of all time, really. That was a great match. Beyond that, though, Erick Rowan didn't really achieve anything. So, with all that being said, the question then becomes, what score do we give Erick Rowan for achieving absolutely nothing as part of a glorified jobber faction called the Wyatt family? Well, unfortunately for him, and unfortunately for all of his fans, here at the Hater channel, for those types of situations, we give people 0 out of 10. So a 0 out of 10 he'll get. Now, it's not over, unfortunately. Erick Rowan then continues his career, and he gets released. Not by the company, but by Bray Wyatt, who releases, I'm going to release Harper and Rowan, man. And he releases them. So Erick Rowan's new gimmick now is that Erick Rowan is this, for lack of a better explanation, he's like this misunderstood genius, right? It's explained that he's like a world-class vinter all of a sudden, that he's solving Rubik's Cubes in 2 seconds, whatever, right? But that's not all. The gimmick is he's a confused genius and also socially retarded. So this is the second gimmick of many where Erick Rowan is retarded. So this obviously led to nowhere. Erick Rowan just floundered about. He turned face one day all of a sudden when Luke Harper was having probably the highlight of his career when he was Intercontinental Champion, and he was teaming up with the Triple H, the Alliance, whatever the fuck they were called, and Erick Rowan would team up with Cena and Dolph Ziggler, you know what I mean? But that led to nothing. He got eliminated in the Survivor Series match immediately. Nobody cared. And then after that, the Wyatt family got back together. Okay, great. The Wyatt family's back together. What is this going to lead to? Well, it led to, once again, absolutely nothing. And I may be getting some of these things out of order, but the second iteration of the Wyatt family was even worse than the first one, right? The first one, so far, Erick Rowan has 5 points from his NXT run, 0 from his, first Wyatt family run, 0 from his, genius run, and yet another 0 from the second Wyatt family run, right? During this run, at some point, he also got squashed by The Rock, you know what I mean, in like 5 seconds in the quickest WrestleMania match of all time. In addition to all this, Erick Rowan and Luke Harper become a tag team again first, and they become the Bludgeon Brothers. While they have some tag team success, this tag team was a colossal failure, right? They didn't stick around. They didn't do anything. They didn't innovate. They were the same ass tag team they had always been. So unfortunately, because of the facts that I just explained, he's going to get another 0 out of 10 for that one as well. The Bludgeon Brothers was horrible, right? They are best known for being destroyed by jobber teams like Cesaro and Sheamus, and then ultimately, like Braun Strowman was like on his singles push, and he would just squash these tag teams, eventually winning the tag team championship with Nicholas from the crowd. So I know that wasn't against them, but it may as well have been. So 0 for that. After this, nothing much happens with Erick Rowan, but he's eventually reintroduced with like the gimmick of a crazy guy who carries something to the ring that's covered by a cloth. That something ended up being a spider. Erick Rowan later did an interview where he said that basically he had a much better idea, which was to put that Indian midget actress from, American Horror Story in the cage instead. First of all, that woman, even though I understand she doesn't have many roles, she's like an actress. You know, you actually have to pay her. You know what I mean? Number 1. 2, why would you do that? 3, nothing changes. You can achieve the same thing with the spider, right? That leads to absolutely nowhere. He goes away with that too, right? That's another 0. So this guy's just zeros up the ass, man. You know, then he gets reintroduced again. This is like, I don't think anybody's gotten more chances than Erick Rowan, like honestly, in history. Except for like, you know, maybe Dolph Ziggler. Like the amount of chances some of these people get, like Dolph Ziggler, Mustafa Ali, like these guys that are never gonna get over. The amount of chances they get, like Miro in throughout his career, like Cesaro, you know, it's like it's never gonna work, but they try it again and again and again anyways. Karrion Kross is another one, Samoa Joe. Like it just never works. You know, they get a million chances to do something and it never pans out. So the latest chance that Erick Rowan got before this current run was he was Daniel Bryan's henchman when Daniel Bryan was doing the quite entertaining vegan gimmick, right? The vegan gimmick was not bad. So the vegan gimmick was good, but Erick Rowan added nothing to it, right? You could have just taken Big Cass and put him with Daniel Bryan. Same thing would have happened. So he gets another 0 on that as well. Which brings us to today. The Wyatt 6. Erick Rowan gets repackaged once again. Now he's Ramblin' Rabbit. Let's think about that for a second. What's the difference between Erick Rowan and Ramblin' Rabbit? Well, if you look at Bludgeon Brothers Erick Rowan, and you take off his sheep mask with the tubes, and you give him a rabbit mask, you have Ramblin' Rabbit. In other words, there is no difference. As someone in my comments said, one of my fans, he made a very good point. He's like, all they've done thus far is beat up Chad Gable. Not even beat up Chad Gable, right? They beat him up once. Right? They're like 1-1 with Chad Gable in assaults, right? And cry in the VHS tapes. So all they've done is cry and attack Chad Gable. So it's been like a month. You know what I'm saying? So Ramblin' Rabbit is destined to fail, just like all the other Erick Rowan iterations. While it is too early to give Erick Rowan a score for Ramblin' Rabbit, because we have to be fair, right? He hasn't even debuted in the ring yet. Maybe he has like a new moveset. Who the hell knows? But probably not. But let's be real, right? This is probably going to be a 0, but we don't have to give him any score because he has like 6 zeros in his resume and 1 5. So we add 5 and we add a bunch of zeros to it and we divide by 6 or 7 how many stints he's had. And either way, even if you divide by 5, you get the 1, but it's at least more than 5. So let's count them. We've got NXT Erick Rowan. We've got Wyatt Family 1, Wyatt Family 2, the vegan gimmick, Bludgeon Brothers, and this guy's got a lot, like fucking spider gimmick and the confused genius gimmick. Got 7 chances this asshole's gotten, right? And 8 if you count the Wyatt family. So a 5 divided by 7 is obviously less than 1. And here in the Hater channel, as you all know, we round down to the nearest number or concept in the context of 0. And therefore, Erick Rowan's score on this episode of Wrestler Review is a solid, strong, very powerful, not even close to 1, 0 out of 10, motherfucks. Erick Rowan sucks. The Wyatt 6 sucks. They should just call him the Wyatt sucks. You know what I'm saying? And quite frankly, Bray Wyatt died a while ago now. It's been a couple of years. And while I'm not saying that, like, you know, we should forget about it because a man died and he was an entertainer and he did try his best in many cases. It's time to like not exploit that anymore, right? It's just like when Eddie Guerrero died and they tried exploiting that, but now it's even worse because it's with Bray Wyatt, who is being exploited also for like his name and his, you know, likeness almost, right? Like, but this is not gonna work. I think it's stupid, and Erick Rowan gets a 0 out of 10. Cuckolds.